Alright, y'all. How you doing? Jason here. Gonna grab something. And I'll share some things with you. See what's on the table here. And talk about some things and stuff and whatnot. So this will be an impromptu thing off the hip. First off, I'd like to say, what a welcome surprise to Derek Case. It's great to see his face and listen to his voice again. Good to see him back, so hopefully we'll see more of him moving forward. Derek, yeah, so good to see him. What else? Let's see, Mother's Day was yesterday, so happy Mother's Day to any moms out there or whatever. And speaking of moms, I had a mother come down Saturday night and just left this morning, so I was fed and watered very well during that stay. Lots of places to eat here. Went to the Chop House Saturday night here in New Orleans. And no, that was Sunday night. The Ruby Slipper this morning for wonderful breakfast. Ruby Slipper can't go wrong for breakfast here in New Orleans. I think there's 3 locations. And then Russell's Marina Grill up by the lake. So no shortage of places to eat, but as you live here for a while, you start to filter through and learn which ones are the better ones. So that was nice. But the point I bring that up mainly is a whole truckload of stuff was brought here, and this was all stuff that was in storage. I still have a ton of stuff in storage, mostly books. But anything and everything game related that remained in St. Louis is now here in my house, as it were. Not all of it as exciting as you might want it to be, but some of it bears mentioning. So we're going to run through some of that. And got a couple other things to share with you here. Get a couple other things out of the way. Game 1 of the Blues have now made it to, my Fighting Blues have made it to the third of 4 total rounds. We were blown out pretty much in Game 1 against San Jose. Game 2 is tonight. I expect to see a little bit better response from my beloved team. Well, we'll see how that goes, and needless to say, it's an exciting time for me. Anytime Blues are in the playoffs, never won a Stanley Cup, so you never know. We fight through San Jose. Boston looks really good, so it could be the Blues and the Bruins in the final round. I'm hoping that's what we see. I don't think Carolina's going to beat Boston. I don't know that we're going to beat San Jose, but if we did, that would be pretty cool. Maybe get some revenge on that Bobby Orr goal back in the day. He's flying across, scores the goal, and the famous picture, you've seen it, where he's flying across the ice after he scores the goal. Yeah, rah, Boston. Be nice to get some revenge on that. And we made it to the Stanley Cup Finals a number of times, 2-3 years in a row, when the team was brought in as its inaugural season is what I'm trying to say, in the second, third season. But we never won a game in the Stanley Cup Final. Never even won a game. We were swept each time we went, so it would be nice to change history. So keep an eye on that. Also, let's see, any Game of Thrones fans out there, that's winding down. I think there's 1 episode left. Not to fear, word on the street is there's supposed to be, there's at least 3 spin-offs shows in the making, so chances are pretty good we'll see at least one of those. So for you Game of Thrones fans that are going to be fiending for something after this final episode next Sunday, eventually you'll have that to look forward to. I think that's it. Termite season is here. I don't know if you know that, but every year, about this time, we get swarms of termites. Last year, it looked like a horror movie. You open the window curtain and you could see just tons and tons of them swarming around the windows. That was a lot of fun. The cat thinks it's great because it's, according to her, it's flying cat food. And she just goes through the house and cleans up and eats them, so saves me the trouble, right? That's pretty much it on the domestic front. One final thing. Every year at the library where I work, we have what is now referred to as Geek Fest. I guess you can call it kind of a con. Not so much comic books, not so much miniatures or even war games or historical stuff, but very, very, very thick and heavy with the sci-fi angle. That's every year. I thought I'd try and represent a little bit. So of course I ran the chess stuff, which I do every Saturday anyway. But then I thought I'd make one slight change, and I brought an old school squad leader, and I have pictures. Maybe I'll post. Just old school squad leader, set it up, had a nice presentation of the game, set up the board, etc. But it was interesting because, you know, I would get a number of people walking by and looking, you know, looky-loos, and I did have a co-worker that I ran through a couple turns with. He got a kick out of that. But the most interesting thing, I guess, was older gentleman and his wife. And he couldn't resist himself. You know, he saw the box and could just see his eyes. You know, it was the first time he'd ever seen anything like that. And he comes over and he said, "What is that?" And I'm looking at it and never seen it before, never seen anything like it. Thoroughly intrigued. I explained it to him. I gave him the breakdown on the old Avalon Hill Company, and then this is, you know, from 1977, blah, blah, blah. And you could tell he was just dying to sit down and have me show him this or run through, you know, a little bit of it. I was happy to do so, but every time I brought it up, I said, "Hey, take a seat. Give me 10 minutes of your time, you know. I'll show you what squad leader is." But every time I did that, he would look to his wife as if to say, "Can I?" And, you know, he wouldn't verbalize that, and then he'd look back at me and go, "No, I can't do it." And I was like, wow, okay. I mean, I think your wife would be all right for 10 minutes, but apparently she really doesn't want you to get involved with this stuff. Maybe she saw the future, right? Maybe she said, nuh-uh. You ain't sitting down and playing that and then dropping $10,000 over the next 25 years on this cardboard junk. She might be smarter than we give her credit, right? Anyway, that was a shame because I would really like to bring a new sheep into the fold for the squad leader, but didn't happen. Got another guy that came up and, you know, was interested, and I gave him the rundown as well. But that was it. Everybody else wanted to wax nostalgic about Star Trek and all that other. It's good stuff. It has its place. I've never been able to overly relate to that stuff. As far as sci-fi goes, I'll talk to you about Blade Runner. I guess I'll talk to you about what little I know about Dune, and I think maybe that's the gist of it. Star Wars, I could take it or leave it, especially these new movies. And I know I sound like a whiny old bastard, but they just don't compare to the you know, Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. They're okay. They just seem a little contrived and hollow, and I don't know. I got to see Empire Strikes Back as a kid in the theater. That thing blew me away. It was amazing. And I did my best, probably the next 6 months, to recreate that Battle of the Planet Hoth scene in the movie. To this day, I'm just mesmerized when I see that. You know, a couple pictures on, I think, Wargame Geek, where they have miniatures of that battle. That, you know, the AT-ATs and the, looks amazing. But the sci-fi stuff, you know, I've always been more historical. You all know that. Especially World War II, so did what I could, but that was interesting. So before I get to the stuff that I had delivered from home and storage, I do have a couple of acquisitions. I don't even know, I got stuff everywhere now, I don't even know where to look for things. What did I get? I meant to do an unboxing of this, and if you're chomping at the bit, waiting for me to do so, which I seriously doubt anybody is. I think Stuka Joe has a rundown of this, but this is Black Orchestra, Kill Hitler, rah rah rah. There's another old school, I think it was in Strategy and Tactics initially, Assassinate Hitler game, and I'd like to do an overview of any more and do just a complete video on that, but we'll see how that goes. So this needs to get unshrunk and run through. That's yet to do. What else? I think there was, oh yeah, Zeppelin Raider. Now, I did order this after seeing a number of reviews and reading about it. Still in the shrink. I need to go through this as well. Zeppelin Raider. I'm a little concerned with the amount of things that are missing in this game. I think there's a chart, a whole chart missing out of there, some other things, tons of errata. That doesn't mean that makes that a bad game. You just got to do a little more legwork in order to enjoy the thing. There's a number of fantastic games. Let's Fields of Fire, for instance. Go look at the amount of errata and questions on Wargame Geek for Fields of Fire, right? And it's going to blow your mind. But it still keeps getting praise, and people still love this game. So, you know, don't let that sway you. Speaking of Fields of Fire, as I look at it, that's why I'm turning around. The Volume 2 just came out. GMT just released it. They tried to charge me for it. Something happened and they couldn't. I don't know what's wrong with GMT. I've got something messed up on my account there. There's probably a billing address that doesn't jive with the shipping address. That's been the case in the past with a couple of issues. But I thought about it, and I said to myself, I guess I don't want this game bad enough because I don't care to go in there and change that information. I've already got the game. I don't know that I need the second volume of it, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I won't be getting the pre-order of it because I'm not going in and changing my shipping information as of now. I just don't care enough to do it. But I will need to do that at some point because I do have the Russian Campaign Designers Edition on there, and the Hunted, later World War II North Atlantic U-boat stuff, and maybe one other thing. Oh, Tank Duel. I gotta fix it for that. Tank Duel's gonna be great. Tank Duel's gonna be good. So I do need to fix it before all that stuff happens. Now, as far as stuff from home, we'll run through that and then I'll cut to what's on the table, and then I got some little other odds and ends. What did I bring from home? Just a ton of stuff. I brought all... I've already shown you in a previous video the Napoleonic figures I painted and used. I brought the Austrians. I'm not going to show you those, but that's what I brought. Strike of the Eagle. Academy Games brought that. Man, this thing's heavy. The first edition of War of the Ring, brought that. I have the second edition already here, but you know, I had already had this in storage, so went ahead and brought that. Or had that brought, rather. A couple other odds and ends. Some more Samurai Battles, Commands and Color stuff. It's always great. The miniatures in those things are just fantastic. As we go down here. So, there's another game shelf. Samurai Battles. So I have actually 2 copies of this now, which I turned into, I don't know if you can see this. I've actually painted and turned into that in this little glass shadow box. Because I was going to present that at the Geek Fest and let people play through it, but I ended up changing my mind. But I'm getting to the point here. I'm getting to something. Just bear with me. I'll be right back. I think I'm going to bring it up here. Oh God, all my records. Dan, you need to FaceTime me at some point so we can run through some of these records together. I don't know how many of them you're going to know, but you might get a kick out of some of them. So, you may or may not be aware, I was a big Flames of War guy. I don't know if any of you are aware of just how big of a Flames of War guy I was, but pretty damn big. I spent probably an entire year every day painting non-stop. and it might be part of why I don't have a girlfriend anymore. Just a theory. I don't chalk it all up to that, but stuff like, so what do we have here? This is a panther. The light in here is horrible. Let me see if I can get some more light. I'll run through some of this, but this is just two. So this is what we're looking at here, right? Two of these, and this is just maybe a quarter of the stuff. Flames of War wise. We got here a little half track. All the painting done by yours truly, and this is what has now made me hate painting. I will probably never paint ever again because I burned myself out to this day doing this. I'm still sick of painting. So this is obviously a stub, and some American stuff here. I might too much to show you all of it, but just some highlights. Do I play with this stuff anymore? No. It was in St. Louis, and I'm rarely there in a fashion that is conducive to play, and I don't know, it's just kind of a hassle to set up, and you need mega table space, which I guess I arguably do have enough, but I don't see myself playing Flames of War anytime soon. But did have a lot of fun with it when I did. Where's some other, oh, this guy. One of my favorite tanks I did, this big old British bastard here. Pretty good there. And pretty happy about this victory objective marker I did. Crashed. Messerschmitt, I believe. There's that. We have. So yeah, this is basically a Showy telly video. If you haven't sussed that out by now. Steiner? Is that who I'm trying to say? From Stalingrad? This was a special Flames of War release that I'm fairly proud of the paint job I did. Sergeant Steiner. One of my favorite little stints that I did. And then we have this British Arnhem anti-tank group that needs a little touch-up work. Got some damage in the trek from St. Louis to here. Let me see if I can pull these up for you. There's those. You can see that. And then just two full huge boxes of this stuff. There's one box. I can see this box. See the box? Yay, box. It's an entire box of just guys. A lot of Russians in here. What I did with the Russians, for the most part, is I found an old, what do you call it, like doormat, and cut it and made the bases out of that so it looked like wheat. So there's a machine gun unit in the wheat. Tons of guys like that. The Russian tank. Pretty happy with that A lot of Russians. Let's see. Some more Russians. Some Finns. No, these are SS. So just how many? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. So 10 of these full of Russians, SS, Finns. I need to just sell this stuff. And an entire freaking wine box of vehicles. I'll put this over here. This thing is heavy, dude. This metal. And then of course I get all this metal stuff and paint it and they come out with plastic. The plastic looks just as good, if not better. That irritated me. But my lord, look at this. I don't know if you can see it all. Vehicles. Some American artillery. American tank. Tons, you know. Is it a Jagdpanzer or something? So this is one floor, and then I have underneath, there's a way to lift this out, and the bottom floor is the same thing. There's tons of stuff. So that's that. Put you back up here, and then we'll cut to the other thing. So yeah, a lot of stuff that was in storage is now here. Got a lot of my old D&D books, and if you guys remember this little Earth role-playing stuff that came out. Throw those out. Here's some of the lesser exciting games that were in storage. Ace of Aces, old game there. Blue and the Gray, one of those rare flea market finds. I hear people finding all kinds of stuff at garage sales and flea markets. It doesn't seem to happen often for me. Well, that was one. Twilight War. And a ton more of the Dust Warfare stuff. Grab that. Serious Minimus. I ordered a game. I don't remember what game it was, but it shipped so late in there. I guess the guy felt bad. Hats off to him. He threw this in there for free because the actual thing I had ordered, it took so long to ship it. That was really cool. Time ship. I don't know if any of you remember that one. Oh, this guy. The old SPI flat tray. Sniper, house-to-house fighting in World War II. Just stuff. It's all here now. Ton more Flames of War books. And, yeah, Jesus. I'm being swallowed whole by by games here. Let me try and do this. If you can see this, now for comparison, I'll take this off too. Here's an actual, I call it regulation size, mat board, ASL mat board, stretched out. So what I have here is a product of FedEx Kinko's. I went and had The board number 1 blown up about 200%, something like that. Why? I don't know why. That's just the tinkering whatever in me. But so what I've done is play out good old-fashioned. The guard's counterattack is turn 2. Everything's pretty much par for the course over here. However, I did run a human wave towards building on G6. That was fairly successful for the Russians. In fact, I had to allow the Germans in I7 to come and help reinforce building on G6. That's the most elaborate development. I'm not sure what I'm going to do moving forward, but that's where we're at right now. And I don't even know if you can see that. Let me bring you closer. Sorry about that. What about that? Does that help? So yeah, you can see this. So yeah, the human wave from this building, G3 building, into here, fairly successful, and then had to reinforce from here, Germans from here into here, back into here, and everything else pretty much again par for the course over here. So I had a lot of fun with that, and I have to say, there are a number of, oh heavens, what is the guy's name? I gotta find it to give him a shout out because his videos are fantastic. Let me see if I can. Just talk amongst yourselves there for a second. Here we go. It is. Make sure I get his name right. Russ Gifford, okay? Russ Gifford. In fact, I'm gonna write it down. I'm gonna do you one better. I'm gonna write it down for you. If any of you guys need brush up, or you're learning ASL for the first time, or whatever, check out his videos on YouTube. Russ Gifford, right? They're great, and he has reminded me of a number of things that I had forgotten that I should be doing through a turn, and he helped me straighten out a couple of things that I was doing incorrectly. So check his videos out on YouTube. He did a great job. There are a whole slew of them that he breaks it down. And then the other thing I noticed that was interesting, let me bring you up higher, finally I should say, is I don't know how many of you are neurotic enough to have read the footnotes for Chapter A, but I was doing that the other day. And they're really interesting. They break down some things. For instance, obviously I'm not going to read them all, but go through this and just skim, because it explains a lot of reasoning behind why ASL plays and is set up the way that it is. So for instance, range. Most people just think range is what it is. It's the distance between me and you, and how far can the gun shoot? No, listen, ready? Range is far more than simply a measure of the distance a unit's weapon can shoot. It is also an abstracted measure of the unit's discipline, fire doctrine, training, and willingness to engage an enemy. The player who assumes that his units will fire at an enemy they can see is giving them the benefit of far more heroic and aggressive tendencies than they usually possessed. Fire draws fire in return, and more units sought to duck a fight than to seek one. It's fascinating to me, and it makes sense. So there's little tidbits in here all through these footnotes. That break things down like that. And I encourage you, for those that are curious, to read through this again. I'm not going to read all of them. But I found that very interesting. So I don't know, maybe it's just me. But I think that about covers it. I'll probably play through this some more. I've got starter kit number, Jesus, I don't know what it is, 4 or 5. Pacific Theater stuff. I finally got a ship notice today from M&P for that. So I expect that to be here mid to late next week. If I'm not done with this, I'll probably break this down, run through some of the scenarios in there, see what I think of that. Maybe I'll try and give you guys some feedback regarding that. That's most likely to go on the table next, unless I get a wild notion to just grab something out of left field. One of these games that are still in the shrink. One of these games that I've never played. So we'll see about that. Game 2 tonight. Hockey fans out there, Blues and Sharks, should be good. And I think that about covers it. So guys, let me know what you think. Any comments, questions, shout outs, whatever. Give me a holler, and talk to you guys next time. All right, bye-bye.